Hi, Caroline Carty here at Powell Arts, and I'm with Valerie Pantalone in front of her gorgeous piece, which will be in our juried show starting now through May 14th. Valerie, do you mind introducing us to your piece?
Yes, this is Rowan Creek. So about it, it's one of the first pieces I painted getting back into painting and art. So it's actually it's a scene from the Rowan University campus.
Mm-hmm.
The art building and the engineer building is actually connected by a little pathway.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of times the artists, like the students, will run back there and they'll make like a little installations and everything back there. But I just went back there one day, shot a photograph with my camera, and this is what I photographed.
It was like coming back to your roots.
Yeah, it was like that. And then like all the trees and branches, there's just like this little overgrown
wilderness.
Yeah, bush, like right in the back of like the university off that people use sometimes. And that's it. And that's the creek. And that actually runs through the campus.
Yeah, we used to
all the way down to like, yeah.
When Carol went to Rowan, when we were little kids, we used to go back and play in this area. We're like, look at this little wilderness. So you've captured it so beautifully. And even the slope, like, because it makes like, it's like a little bit of a hill with creek. The light is very dramatic and you guide our eye through in such a beautiful way. You're grounding it with blue here. And then the little blue peeks out. How did you think about the composition when you were going into this?
Well, I mainly think about like how the trees are moving and growing first, because I figured out like branches a lot of times will guide your eye no matter like what's going through. So I really liked how like the roots of the tree were slumping over into the creek and the water and going up through. So I kind of wanted that, and then like the blue background too was just because usually when you have like a lot of, because this is taken late fall.
Well, it's very intricate.
And so like usually when you're like in a forest or like a tree or you're surrounded, you just get that little light blue glow in between the trees. You don't really get clouds in that much. So that's how that went. And then obviously this is also the same pigment as down here too.
Which ties really nicely. And you've juxtaposed it really well with the oranges and the blues so that they really create push-pull.
Right.
So, do you paint a lot of landscape? Is that like generally your preference?
Yes, it's generally my preference.
Do you prefer to work this large?
No, I actually prefer to work smaller.
I thought I remember you saying that.
Yeah, I'm actually working smaller. Sometimes I will work large. I like to do both, to be honest with you. I like having a large piece and also with a small piece working at the same time. But not really, because it takes a really long time. Like this took me 3 months to paint,
And I was going to say that because the thing is that people who work large, sometimes when they're working large, they use broad brush strokes that fill the canvas very efficiently, and you can get the idea of what the scene is and everything, and it looks detailed because it's blown up. But this is not only large, but incredibly detailed down to each. It almost looks like we have another artist who said his wife told him he painted every leaf in a painting. This is similarly, you painted every leaf and every branch. Like there's such a depth of like the vines and the leaves and everything coming together.
Yeah, you really created texture with your brush strokes, which is beautiful because people have to come in to look at this.
Yeah.
Because on the one hand, there's a certain smoothness through some sections, and then it gets, all of a sudden you pick it up with the dot.
Yeah, you've broken it up with lots of different gesture and brush stroke.
Right.
You also anchored, like you were talking about, with the branches and the darks, particularly anchor it to almost every part of the painting.
Yeah, and you gave everybody a clear entry point into, like, we feel like we are right next to this tree going into it. When you are working on a piece, would you say you are do you focus on texture? Is brushwork like one of the things you enjoy?
I focus mainly on color, texture, and texture when I am painting. So my main thing is color, but also texture because I want to define things and make sure, like, like, oh, that's a branch. Oh, that's grass. Oh, those are leaves on, because texture is very important. And a lot of times too, like, I'm painting with so much intense color, you tend to lose like sometimes the shadows and the depth, and
But you picked up on the shadows beautifully, particularly with your purples.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is gorgeous. The way that it starts with the more light here, and then becomes more dark as it travels up. Right. I think is gorgeous. So, and the way that you've put really strong colors next to each other in juxtaposition really defines it well. And then you add in that extra texture, the extra lines. Yeah. This piece has, I think we think of landscapes a lot in terms of like Zen, bare bones, natural. And this is a beautiful landscape, but it also has so much energy and action within it.
Right, yeah.
So, which I think is...
Do you think about energizing when you're doing things?
Yeah, I'm actually quite energetic when I'm doing this in my mind. Like, I find like it does take a lot of energy out of me, and it takes a lot of emotion out of me. And I am working with emotion when I am painting these. And so, like, yeah, it is very energetic. It might be small little energy, but like it's definitely big in my mind.
Well, it's big in person.
Yeah.
Not just like it big in size. It has big energy. Mm-hmm. So.
Well, I was also looking at it from the standpoint of a lot of times small work feels more dreamlike. So it's like you're hovering outside and you enter in. You gave us a nice little place there on the right. My right to enter into the painting, and yet it's large enough where it feels more like I'm going to take a step into it rather than it's a dreamscape. Although this is so beautiful, it could be fantasy.
Yeah, right. And that's also another thing I'm going for is you want to be here too. You want to be like around it, and you just feel it, like you feel everything. You see, like, not only are you seeing everything, I want you to feel everything too.
We had talked to one of our other artists about this idea of cinematic versus television, and how in cinematic you're going into a world and your eye looks everywhere, whereas on TV it's basically focused on a face. And this is cinematic in scale because your eye is looking everywhere because there is detail that's telling the story everywhere, which I think is really beautiful. So we hope that you will come see this cinematic piece at Powell Arts from now through May 14th. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.